Good morning, I'm Amit Thackeray and let's begin with the top stories of this hour. Term of 59 members of the National Assembly determined through a lucky draw. Tenure set for 2, 4 and 6 years. Report reveals licensed weapons posing threat to security. People with tainted background making avail of automatic guns. US President Donald Trump threatens to levy a 10% tariff on $200 billion of Chinese goods in a tit-for-tat trade war with Beijing. And Harry Kane inspires England to a 2-1 win over Tunisia at the World Cup. Belgium too good for debutant Panama. South Korea go down to Sweden. Let's begin with the national political updates. The term of 59 members of the National Assembly has been determined through a lucky draw. As per the constitutional provision, the term has been set for 2, 4 and 6 years. Accordingly, the term of 19 National Assembly members has been set for 2 years, 4 years and 20 National Assembly members and 6 years for another 20 National Assembly members. The term per Ganesh Timilsina, Chairman of the National Assembly, has been set for 6 years. Likewise, Vice Chairman Sasikala Dahal is set for 4 years. Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa, member of the National Assembly, has a tenure of 6 years. However, Finance Minister Yuvraj Khatiwada will get to work for a mere 2 years. The National Assembly has 13 representatives from opposition Nepali Congress, 7 out of whom have been limited to a 2-year term. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said that agreements on railroads, energy and infrastructure development would be signed during his China visit beginning today. Informing the Federal Parliament about his 6-day China visit, Premier Oli noted that the visit would dwell on bilateral cooperation and mechanism of joint investment. Prime Minister Oli said that issues including trade deficit, infrastructure development and road expansion under One Belt, One Road initiative would be discussed as well. The Prime Minister added that national integrity would be at the center stage while inking agreements with China. Prime Minister Oli also said that the agreements signed during his earlier China visit and terms of the joint declaration would be discussed as well. Saying that Nepal is committed to the issue of One China policy, Oli said that Nepal would also raise problems seen at some of the transit points. Prime Minister Oli is embarking at the China visit beginning today on the invitation of his Chinese counterpart Li Keqiang and is also scheduled to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. In the last 2 weeks, the police have taken control of illegal and licensed guns. Those who carry illegal guns are mostly involved in criminal activities. But those who carry licensed guns are also in controversy. This is a modern automatic German sports gun. The gun, which can be carried in a briefcase, is no less than a gun carried by commandos. But the state has given license to hold such a gun to Ang Kaji Sherpa, who supplies products to the army and police, and is also a contractor. Sherpa, who was charged for public offence 3 years ago, obtained license to possess the gun 7 years ago. Just like Sherpa, manpower entrepreneur Raghunath Puri, who has been involved in a swindling case, also has a licensed gun. Birendra Lal Shrestha, who has been charged for banking fraud, also has a licensed rifle. Taking into consideration the controversies of these people with criminal background possessing licensed guns, the Metropolitan Crime Division of Nepal Police recently took control of the guns. According to a study conducted 3 years earlier, over 34,000 people have been given licenses to possess guns. The police are of the view that licensed guns have been misused as they have been used in collecting money in contract business and loan recovery. Due to the misuse of licensed guns, the law which gives citizens the right to possess guns has to be revised. And time now for a short break. For more news, do stay with us. Welcome back after the break. Pioneer neurosurgeon Dr. Upendra Devkota passed away yesterday evening at the age of 64. Late Dr. Devkura had been battling the gallbladder cancer and breathed his last at the capital's Neuro Hospital in Basbari. He was also treated at England's King's Hospital for 5 months. The ailing doctor had returned to Nepal on the 28th of April earlier this year. During his tenure as the health minister, late Dr. Devkura had transformed the country's oldest hospital, Veer Hospital, as Medical Science National Academy. Late Devkura's body will be kept until 1 p.m. today for well-wishers to pay their last tribute. 35 Peace Corps volunteers were sworn in by Charge d'Affaires Peter Malnak and Peace Corps Nepal Country Director Sherry Russia to begin their 2-year service in Nepal. The new volunteers join over 38,000 volunteers who served before them in Nepal since 1962 and over 7,200 Peace Corps volunteers currently serving in 65 other countries around the world. This group of volunteers is the 7th to arrive in Nepal since the Peace Corps program reopened in 2012. The 35 Peace Corps volunteers arrived in April 2018 and underwent 11 weeks of intensive language, cross-cultural and technical training in Kabra district in preparation for the service. The volunteers have been assigned to 7 districts in 3 provinces to work on food and nutrition security projects in coordination with the Ministries of Health and Population, Ministry of Agriculture, Land Management, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and support the government of Nepal's food and nutrition security priorities in the area. Now the international update. US President Donald Trump has threatened to levy a 10% tariff on $200 billion of Chinese goods in a tit-for-tat trade war with Beijing. Trump said he asked trade advisors to identify additional Chinese products on which to impose new tariffs. Last week, Trump announced the US would impose 25% tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods. Beijing responded by saying it would hit 659 US goods worth $50 billion with a similar tax. The US president released a statement saying that these tariffs will go into effect if China refuses to change its practices and also if it insists on going forward with the new tariffs that it has recently announced. The White House said if China goes through with its promise to retaliate against the US tariffs announced last week, the United States will impose tariffs on an additional $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. He said that the trade relationship between the United States and China must be much more equitable. US tariffs that affect more than 800 Chinese products worth $34 billion in annual trade are due to come into effect on the 6th of July. And time now for another short break. For more news, stay with us. It's now time for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what's your take on non-removal of police posts from schools despite the lapse of a decade since the insurgency? And also the eight government's apathy, the lack of infrastructures and seat hegemony. The voting is on type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And yesterday we asked the business entrepreneurs in Lumbini, Chitwan, Pokhara and Kathmandu, will the government be able to reach its target of bringing in 2 million tourists within the next 2 years? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
बाटाघाटा हरेक कुरा नबन्दासम्म 2 वर्षभित्रमा 20 लाख पर्यटक भित्राउने यो कुरा असम्भव मात्रै होइन, यो महत्त्वाकांक्षी हैन पूर्ण रूपले असफल नै हुन्छ।
ठुलो ठुवा र हिलो बाहेक केही छैन। त्यही भएर यसो हेर्दा यो लक्ष्यमा पुग्नलाई चाहिँ अलि सरकारले अलि मेहनत गर्नुपर्ने अवसर देखिन्छ।
पर्यटकको अवस्था के छ, पर्यटकले पाउनुपर्ने सुविधा पाछन् कि छैनन्, त्यसमा सरकारको फिटिक्कै ध्यान गएको देखिन्न। डाइरेक्टली हाम्रो पर्यटक यति आज अब यति ल्याउँछौँ भनेर त्यो एकदम घोषणा जस्तो मात्रै, त्यस्तो हिसाबले चाहिँ पर्यटक भित्राउने लक्ष्य राखेर मात्रै हुन्न।
असम्भव जस्तै हुन्छ। किनकि तपाईको सरकारले त बोल्न त जे नि बोलिदिन्छ नि तर त्यो चाहिँ पुरा हुन चाहिँ धेरै गाह्रो नै छ
अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय देशहरुमा चाहिँ अब फ्लाइटहरु डेस्टिनेसन बढाउनु पर्यो त्यो योजनाहरु कुनै छैन अब त्यसै 20 लाख भनेर बोल्दैमा पुग्ने चाहिँ सम्भावना मैले देखिन
व्यापक मात्रामा प्रचार प्रसार गरेर त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ प्याकेजकै रूपमा चाहिँ सरकारले चाहिँ सुरुवात गरेर चाहिँ पर्यटकहरु ल्याउन सक्यो भने चाहिँ 20 लाख त नै के हदसम्म हामी अहिले 9 लाख छ भने 12 13 14 लाखसम्म जान सक्छौं यो नै सराहनीय हुन सक्छ
20 लाख पर्यटक भित्र आएर त्यो पर्यटकहरुलाई सेवा दिन सक्छौ सक्दैनौ हामीले कतिको त्योपट्टि ध्यान दिएको छौं गभर्नमेन्टले पहिला सुरुमा त्यो चाहिँ ध्यान दिनु पर्यो
Now the sports update.
Sports news.
A stoppage time header from two-goal Harry Kane gave England a 2-1 win over Tunisia in the opening World Cup Group G match last night. A 35-minute Ferjani Sassi penalty cancelled out Kane's 11th minute opener. After the break, England, who had wasted several good chances in the first half, struggled to break down the deep defending African side. But from a Kieran Trippier corner, a cleansing header from Harry Maguire found Kane at the back post and he noted home to give England a winning start.
The cross in. Silly challenge from Kyle Walker. Arm raised, and so too did Ferjani Sassi. Pickford got a hand on it, couldn't keep it out. 1-1. And then another corner from Trippier. And Kane with the header. 91st minute of the game. Match-winning goal for England.
Fancied Belgium proved too good for debutant Panama, registering a clinical 3-0 victory in a World Cup match that concluded just a short while ago. Following a goalless first half, Panama's resilience finally ended in the second half as Belgium scored a flurry of goals. Mertens opened the scoring for Belgium shortly into the second half with a neat volley. This followed a brace by Lukaku, who scored in the 69th and 75th minute to seal the 3-0 win.
Mertens watching it all the way.
Meanwhile, Asian powerhouse South Korea went down to Sweden by a solitary goal in a match played under FIFA World Cup yesterday. The first half between South Korea and Sweden had ended goalless. Both the teams had missed out on a number of goal-scoring opportunities. Sweden took the lead in the 65th minute when they were awarded a penalty after a referral to video assistance referee. The goal scorer was Andreas Kranevich. South Korea next takes on Mexico on the 23rd of June. Today's matches at the FIFA World Cup see Colombia taking Japan at 5:45 p.m. Nepal time. Poland will play against Senegal at 8:45 p.m. while host Russia go head-to-head against Egypt in the late-night fixture, which kicks off at 11:55. Report reveals that licensed weapons posing threat to security, people with tainted background are making avail of automatic guns. US President Trump threatens to levy a 10% tariff on $200 billion of Chinese goods in a tit-for-tat trade war with Beijing. And Harry Kane inspires England to a 2-1 win over Tunisia at the World Cup. Belgium too good for debutant Panama. South Korea go down to Sweden. And that's all for this hour. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Goodbye for now.